Hello and welcome to the webinar, Building a Mobile Supply Chain While Leveraging Existing Systems, part of TAKE's webinar series, Optimizing Supply Chains in a Global and Mobile Economy. My name is Donna Fritz and I'm the Director of Product Marketing for TAKE Supply Chain. Joining us on the presentation today is Solution Consulting Director David Riffle. David has more than 24 years of supply chain industry experience across various functions, including manufacturing, distribution, logistics, finance, IT, and sales. His most recent focus has been on collaboration with China-based high-tech manufacturing partners, utilizing international direct shipping software tools and business processes. David holds BBA and MBA degrees from the University of Texas at Austin and currently lives in Loveland, Colorado. Before we get started, I'd like to take a few moments to cover some housekeeping items, which you can see on the screen. All the attendees will be on mute. You can submit any questions through the Q&A panel on the right bar of your screen, or you can email questions to contact@takesolutions.com. If you have any technical difficulties during the presentation, you can contact WebEx customer support at 1-866-229-3239. Select option 1. This session will be recorded and an on-demand version will be made available by next week. For more information, please chat with the host. Thank you for joining this broadcast, which will last approximately 35 minutes. Today, David will be discussing mobile transactions across supply chain sources, areas of expanding supply chain mobility, and strategies for implementing mobile solutions. At the conclusion of the presentation, David will be available to respond to any questions you may have. We'll answer questions in the order received, and we'll stay on the line for approximately 10 minutes after the end of the presentation. At this point, I'll turn it over to David. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Donna. Thanks to everyone for attending the webinar. We really do appreciate you allocating time in your busy schedules to spend it with us. As with the other webinars in our series, we've kept the duration relatively short to minimize the impact on your schedules. And we do hope you find the content interesting, and hopefully it'll spark some creative ideas or will motivate you to take some steps to further improve your own supply chains. So let's jump right in. So the first slide, leveraging mobile transactions across supply chain sources. Some of the key takeaways in this section will relate to the fact that supply chain professionals are continuing to search for new ways to compete in very competitive global markets, and mobile technologies are just one of the tools that are out there and are available to us to help us optimize our supply chain both inside and outside the four walls of our operations. In some cases, the speed provided by mobile solutions, the ability to monitor operations real-time from virtually anywhere, the ability to speed up tactical and strategic decision-making, they can provide that edge that a company needs to better compete and survive. So relative to some data, mobility is already present in many enterprises, but moving forward, its adoption and footprint are expected to accelerate. Some data points to consider. There's projected to be a very rapid increase in the use of mobile devices. In 2012, about 22% of corporations in the U.S. had deployed tablets in their workforce. Most of that is heavy use in sales, customer relationship management, and that's expanding out to other areas. Mobile device usage is expected to triple in large companies by 2015. So looking at the graphic there at the bottom of the slide, you can see that visually as well. Also, the third bullet there, bring your own device, BYOD, is becoming more prevalent. 46% of large enterprises currently support personally owned devices in the workplace. In addition, the increase in business apps through distribution channels like iTunes, like we do in consumer apps, 20% of mobile workers today are already getting business apps from these types of app stores today. The bottom line is that companies are warming up to mobile and will continue to see increasing use of employee bring your own device, increasing use of business app stores, as well as companies developing their own mobile business apps. So regarding the most common types of mobile devices and their evolution, starting from the far left on this slide, wireless or dumb telnet scanners These were the earliest scanners, often with industrial or operational usage. Basic barcode scanning, little to no logic, these are now becoming more obsolete. They're being replaced by wireless smart Windows-based mobile scanners. These scanners are capable of handling more intelligent, more diverse transactions. We're also seeing more ruggedized tablets being used in operations. These are also used more for field work or remote work, either batch or real-time data access for these types of tablets. And the most common, as you know, consumer tablets, smartphones, part of that bring your own device trend. And these are better for more non-industrial level work related to business communications, business transactions, maybe mobile visibility of data on your system. And again, these are dominated primarily by Apple with iOS, Google Android, Microsoft Mobile, RIM, and others. So what is driving this increased usage of mobility within the enterprise? There's several factors. The first is advances in the user interface. As you know, huge growth of consumer mobile devices, in particular with very simplified UIs, very simplified consumer experience that Apple, Google, and others have provided. These are spilling over into business use, and it's caused a paradigm shift where business users now expect a similar type of friendly, simple mobile UI experience. Also, the consumerization of IT. Again, huge growth in consumer usage of mobile. You've got the simple UIs, advanced IT capabilities at your fingertips, high-speed cellular wireless network connectivity and performance, easy on-demand access to apps via app stores. The volumes and technology here have driven significant improvements in the cost structure of operating mobile networks, along with advances in security and data integration. This has improved the ROI of adopting mobile solutions within businesses and has pushed many businesses to take that step. We also have smarter smart devices. As discussed on the previous slide, smart devices are expanding well beyond simple, dumb, kind of telnet barcode scanners. These new devices have a broad array of capabilities, including the ability to direct and run advanced and automated workflows and other advanced tasks. Also, customer demand, global competition along with complex global supply chains, multiple partners in our supply chains continues to create value chain volatility up and down. It requires more real-time communication to stay on top of it. Also, just trends, the social world, political world, environmental issues changing, the natural disasters and such. We have this always-on culture that drives this anywhere access to information, whether it's consumer or business. We want that information now at our fingertips. So where do we see supply chain enterprise mobility in use today? Inside the four walls of an operation is where we'll focus first. And typically, materials movement and labeling. These are the traditional wireless material transactions that are more for industrial or operational use. These are a bit more mature, used for typical things like receiving, put away, pick, pack, ship, other materials movements. Key benefits, of that include increasing speed and productivity of workers, reducing manual entry, which increases your data accuracy, etc. Also, wireless workflow capability. So solutions that allow wireless workflow to improve productivity, speed, reduce paper usage, if you're going more green, more sustainable trends. Some examples of these workflows like purchase recs or purchase order approvals. If you have a shopping cart from a catalog, you can do approval of shopping cart catalog via mobile or even invoice approvals. Also within transportation, wireless devices and workflow are commonly used by carriers for logging the shipment pickup at your manufacturing site or your DC. And then as you go through that chain, it actually goes outside the four walls, but that shipment transaction all the way beginning to end until you get to proof of delivery are often managed by wireless devices. Most all of us have seen these very common parcel carriers, FedEx, UPS, DHL, very common usage. So where do we see these if we shift now to outside the four walls of an operation? Where do we see the main use of mobility today? Buyer-supplier transactions are becoming more prevalent. So having your supplier or your manufacturing partner actually do a PO acknowledgement or a sales order acknowledgement. Maybe they're doing drop ship on your behalf. Those kind of transactions and interactions between customer companies and their supplier and partner companies are becoming more common. Also, we're seeing greater visibility to data via the emergence of mobile interfaces. A lot of these are browser-based interfaces that provide mobile access into your legacy systems or your existing systems so you can see data via those mobile devices from anywhere. This is a step forward, but still has a ways to go to really get to that next generation improved usability simplicity that we want. Also, in speaking with companies at recent events, also talking to existing customers, it seems the real-world adoption of real value-added mobility usage, particularly outside the four walls, lags behind media reports. There's always a few companies out there, early adopters. They have very advanced use models and are doing some pretty cool things, but generally speaking, the usage of mobility outside of four walls are less mature, and we're kind of at the beginning of some of the incredible possibilities that are there. So if you haven't done anything yet, you're not too late. So looking a little bit further out into the near term, areas for expanding supply chain mobility. So first is regarding collaboration transactions. So going beyond the basic internal company transactions that I was discussing earlier, like shopping cart approvals, PO approvals, invoice approval, expanding it out to a greater number of external partner transactions. We talked about PO acts, sales order acts, but there's a lot of other opportunities out there. So things such as maybe doing a mobile pre-ship authorization or having a mobile receipt or a mobile POD approval trigger the invoicing. In addition to just doing mobile shopping cart approval, actually doing mobile shopping cart creation, handling exceptions like purchase order exceptions or purchase order changes, quality issues and quality collaboration. These are all some opportunities that'll be growing rapidly out there. Also, there's material transactions. So going beyond the existing single step or single activity types of transactions and executing more multi-step or combination transactions. Things like doing receiving, put away, labeling, all in one step, or pick, pack, label, ship, using more complex business rules or workflows that are all accessed seamlessly through your one mobile scan gun or device. Also, another example is remote inventory level visibility. So if you've got replenishment stock out there, whether it's vendor-managed inventory or your own inventory, you can have online transactions to trigger those kind of replenishments from remote locations. Some of these transactions require access to the network, so wireless networks, but some of these actually require offline transactions and the ability to batch and then sync up later. This offline kind of mode is often required in remote locations like oil and gas, mining, or other sectors. Also, the third bullet there, workflow automation and intelligence. Guided workflows can now flow through scan guns and other smart devices. This capability can actually dynamically change the proposed next step based on the new information or input and the business rules that are there. So there's a lot of opportunities here in the near term to expand mobility. Another one is social tools. So, social tools obviously are very common consumer apps, but companies and business applications are increasingly integrating chat capabilities for both their internal users and external partners. Things like document management, if you're able to integrate the social media such that the messages become content and they can be tied to other business transactions and other events in your process, they can then become searchable data. And this searchability really can help improve efficiency and provide better access to info. There's been some studies that say you can reduce time as much as 35% the time employees spend searching for company and partner-related information if you can tie all this together. So this next section will look a little bit further out into the future. So regarding the future of supply chain mobility, what can we anticipate going forward? One of the key trends is just this continuous delivery of intelligence. So applications will begin to take more advantage of the mobile device capabilities like camera, video, voice, the geolocation awareness or GPS on these mobile devices, real-time mobile data capture and delivery via auto ID technologies. This concept that's out there that's been described as the Internet of Things. So we would foresee increasing use of RFID technologies. And one of the studies out there says future growth is driven by this node or sensor type of device. And by 2020, these types of devices are expected to account for about 60% of the total installed base of mobile devices. A third category is real-time mobile business intelligence, reporting, and predictive analytics. So as you remove the latency and get faster and more accurate decision-making, even when you're executing complex rules and algorithms in seconds, you can do things that have been described as predictive analytics. You can rapidly process, manage, big data, structured, unstructured data. Some of the new technology innovations that are driving that are around in-memory computing and applications and hardware that's optimized for in-memory computing. Some of the companies out there like SAP HANA, Oracle times 10, these kind of things will enable processing speeds that haven't been possible before. So today, a lot of you and a lot of us, run your BI or your reporting and your analytics at night during batch jobs. Sometimes they take hours. Going forward, these types of analytics or reports can be run in seconds on some of these new systems. And this capability, combined with mobile devices, is really going to be a powerful combination that will help make advanced analytics, decision-making tools available to users everywhere in real time. Also, we'll continue to see software and hardware innovations that continue to leapfrog each other. Some examples here, some of the function-specific mobile-to-mobile apps. For example, vehicle telematics and fleet management apps. They can reduce service and fuel costs and consumption, the ability to adjust routes on the fly of your fleet. You can generate new sources of revenue, do all of these things while increasing customer satisfaction due to the increased information. Another trend, wearable mobile devices have got some play in the press. There's a wide range of wireless and wired communication technologies related to those, whether handheld or wrist, geolocation, again, GPS, different types of data acquisition, whether it's basic barcode, 1D, 2D, smart cards, RFID, etc. There's other functionality that's out there, like product tracking transactions via wireless devices at the point of sale or the point of use. These will offer real-time, accurate transaction-based information that will really change the way retailers and others operate. Some of the current and future trends, we'll see more educated, empowered consumers with this additional info, the integration of true multi-channel distribution and retailing, shortening of product life cycles, also more of a shift from mass marketing to greater levels of personalization and customization at the point of sale. And again, these trends will have a significant impact on how businesses operate. And as a result, the needs that we have in our supply chains and our systems to better gather, store, manage data, provide intelligence to drive real-time decision-making with that data will be more important than it ever has been. And folks who adopt it and are successful will remain competitive. Those who don't may not. So regarding mobility-enabled software, so if you're looking at implementing that, looking at different strategies, you're thinking about, can you leverage your existing systems? One of the first places to start, a real good idea to start, is by ensuring that you understand your enterprise strategy. and use that enterprise strategy to drive your mobility strategy. So some examples, if you're a cost leader, if your company is a cost leader, perhaps you'll use mobility to optimize some of your back office operations for more self-service. Maybe you'll replace desktops with more mobile devices or bring your own device, things that will help you continue to be a cost leader. Another example, if you're more of a niche player or a differentiator, you could use mobility to help differentiate yourself, to your customers and your partners. Maybe you develop your own mobile app store or have some mobile customer relationship management, things of that nature. Another example, if you're a sustainability-focused company or being green is very important to you, quality of life of the workforce, maybe you can use mobility to support mobile work or encourage more of a young, diverse workforce with different new mobile technologies. Finally, another example, things like a digital or a technology leader, you may use mobility to re-engineer a high-value business process with mobile capabilities to deliver some value there. Another point, the second bullet, just because you can does not necessarily mean that you should. So, don't go mobile just to follow the trend and go mobile for mobile's sake. Ensure that whatever you're doing, it's a business decision. You want to be able to generate a real return on investment for where you're focusing, or at least meet some kind of strategic objectives that'll deliver value to your organization. The third bullet, it's really important to get clarity around how you intend to actually use the mobility before you decide on the appropriate platform or the technology or the applications that you might use. For example, for what you're going to do you need online access, or do you actually need to have offline or batch access for your device? Maybe you need both. Do you just need simple mobile access to web pages? Do you need some kind of specialized application? Around the hardware, do you need a specialized mobile device? Are you only going to support one? Or do you want it to be more mobile device agnostic, like supporting many? Do you need to support multiple operating systems, mobile operating systems? Are you going to work with Apple, iOS? Are you going to work with Android, others? What about your in-house skills? Do you have the appropriate mobile development skills, expertise, tools to do what you need to do? How are you going to deal with ongoing device management or asset tracking of those devices? How are your folks going to provision the applications and manage updates, security, support? There's a long list of stuff. And before you decide on your platform, depending on the answers that you have to all these various questions, you can choose from more of an in-house make model or maybe an external buy model or a hybrid strategy to say, hey, this is how we're going to get some of these capabilities and what mobile development technology may be best for us. This next slide is a table that shows some of the mobile development technologies. So things such as mobile web or HTML5, that are out there. Often the pros and cons of some of these things are listed. Often that has easily transferable skills. Some of your existing developers can maybe work on that. Updates are immediate to all devices. They'll work on multiple devices. But, the user experience maybe is not as rich as other mobile apps. And also the device has to be online to be able to access the internet. With native applications, you get the full use of all the functionality that's out there and such on the mobile device. You do get a great user experience and a good look and feel, but often it does require separate development on each platform if you're going to support different platforms. There's different skills to be able to do that. Often there's a separate integration layer that you need. You can look at a mobile development platform that you can work on. Again, it helps apps be able to work on multiple devices. You can integrate security there. You do have some flexibility there if you want to develop some of your own custom apps or things that are more geared to your business. The negative side, it requires a bit more infrastructure. Often there's a project on its own just to build it and get it ready to use. and often there's a high cost either to build it or procure that. The bottom two are more pre-built. Going out, you can get a pre-built mobile app, or you can get something off the cloud. From a pre-built mobile app standpoint, it's minimal or no development on your part. Whoever you buy it from maintains it, provides you updates. There's a lot of users out there providing feedback to make sure the app works, hopefully, before you buy it. But on the negative side, it may require some other components. Maybe you can't configure it or customize it to some of your unique requirements. And often there's a higher cost per user licensing to get that. Similarly for cloud, up front, it's lower investment. The partner kind of manages the infrastructure and such. You get a pretty short timeline. But again, the negative, it may be difficult to integrate that solution with your in-house systems. It's maybe not as configurable for your unique processes that you want. And again, there's some higher cost. If you do licensing or subscription-based services, there can be higher costs there. So you've got to be flexible. The mobile technology is constantly changing, but it's a big decision before you take that step and start investing. So if you do make the decision that you're going to work with a mobile solution partner, like in most business decisions and relationships, choosing the right partner is critical. Several of the considerations are shown on this slide. So some of the questions to consider, maybe you've already got a partner who has a mobile platform and who can provide you mobile capabilities. That's often the easiest way to go versus going out and finding a new partner. Are there any integration limitations with that solution? Are there any functional limitations in what can be done with the solution or with that partner's solution? What are your capabilities? Does that solution or does that partner support industry requirements, particularly in regulated industries and such? Other functionality that's key and technologies that are key, as we've talked about previous trends here in these slides, the business intelligence, the reporting capability, the ability to manage workflows and events, the ability to do real-time communication like business chat and tie that to documents. The technology, again, it's got to be easy to integrate with your existing systems, or it's very expensive or time-consuming. Is there a cloud delivery option that this partner offers? Often there's benefits there. Is the partner have a scalable or flexible solution? These are all different kinds of questions that you need to ask yourself when you choose a partner. Some good first steps, again, with all this information in front of you, it's easy to be a deer in the headlights and say, well, I'm just going to hide and not do anything. That first step is often the most difficult. So some good first steps are listed here. Look at your current project portfolio. What projects do you already have in the pipeline? Maybe you'll find some opportunities there to include mobile apps at a pretty low cost into an existing project. Are there areas in your business that are pain points, where you need increased connectivity or more real-time data capture that'll help you accelerate decision makings? Do you see some obvious ones? Sometimes for data collection, remote inventory locations and getting data from those is a good place to start if you're looking at mobile data collection. Sometimes for collaboration, looking at buyer and supplier transactions, some of the more simple ones to implement relate to things like time-sensitive orders or POs that need to get approved. Things like doing a mobile PO approval or a mobile invoice approval. Those can be pretty good places to start that aren't overly complex. Also, select a couple areas to pilot. You don't necessarily want to put all your eggs in one basket, but if you have one or two good ideas, pilot them. It's always a good, with any new technology, but especially mobile, doing a pilot or a prototype, there are very good ways to mitigate the risk. It also helps you get some of your employee support or your worker support for that mobile strategy. Say, hey, this is cool, it actually saves me time. Those are great to do as well. And then finally, work with a partner that will help you build out your solution in stages based on getting a real ROI. You don't want a big bang or a big upfront investment, but you want to be able to build it out step by step and prove that you're getting value with that. So we take supply chain, we would like to be your solution partner if it makes sense. So we would like you to take us into consideration as you look to potential partners to help improve your supply chain efficiency, control, mobility. We've got solutions and services that span the plan, order, make, deliver spectrum, end-to-end management of internal and external partner functions. We have two primary products. One is One SCM, is the branded name. That's focused more on collaboration and integration. It's back-end system agnostic. It can integrate with multiple different systems and tools. We have another product that we call Gemini series. That's more focused on data collection, printing, enterprise mobility. We do have a lot of years of experience. We've been around for over 18 years, a lot of supply chain domain expertise, and our products also have this built-in mobile transaction capability. So you can choose what transactions you may want to have mobile alerts or mobile transaction execution, and we can help enable that in your supply chain. In addition, we have our own mobile development platform. So if that's an option out there for you, we've got a mobile development platform that can be used. Some of the benefits, just to quickly hit some of these benefits of our solutions. The first bullet there, optimization without major overhauls to your existing application infrastructure. One SCM, Gemini series, they're built to be back-end agnostic. They can easily integrate with your existing systems for mobile data collection and collab. So there's not a big rip and replace, but these things are meant to complement your existing systems. The second bullet, if you have proprietary methods or processes that you want to keep for competitive advantage, we have our own proprietary business process management and workflow engine that's built into our products. So it's real easy for you to automate your processes, configure how you want them to run with different workflows and alerts, and you can maintain your own unique processes by configuring the tool to operate as you want versus being forced to change your business process to adapt to a more narrow or constraining software application. A third bullet, enhanced control of activity. You can easily configure event management and alerts, as I mentioned, to get true process automation for the vast majority of your transactions. So you're only getting notification or needing human interaction if a specified exception occurs. This helps you really just manage by exception and keep automated control of your business process and operations. And finally, just reducing costs, streamlining processes. Because of some of these benefits, our solution can be implemented quickly, minimal upfront investment, and the built-in process intelligence helps you accelerate your business process and decision-making. You can lower inventory levels, all while using less resources and time. And this combination helps you achieve a fast ROI. In addition, we do offer our solution on the cloud. So if you desire a cloud solution, it gives you some added flexibility as described earlier. And also, maybe from a budgetary standpoint, it makes it more of an operating expense versus a capital expense to get into a solution. We can also do pilots or proof of concepts. And finally, this is just a slide with some bullets about our company, Take Supply Chain. We do have a global footprint. We've got about 1,100 staff. Our supply chain center of expertise is here in Austin, Texas. We've got other offices in various locations. We've been around about 18 years. Again, we're growing steadily. We're not a fly-by-night company or an out-of-control company. We have a strong business footprint focused on supply chain applications, also life sciences. And again, we have deep domain knowledge, solutions mastery, et cetera. We offer software, services to support that. And we do have resources in India, other locations, so if we need to get programming done in various areas, we can really help reduce costs from that perspective as well. So that's the last slide of the webinar. As it says, we would be happy to answer any questions that you have now with available time. We're also happy to answer questions later if you want to shoot us an email after the webinar. We'd love to have follow-up conversations with you about your specific supply chain pain points and how we might be able to help you out. So I'll pass back over to Donna.
Thank you, David, and thank you for a great presentation despite the technical challenges that we did have. As mentioned before, David will now be available online for the next 10 or so minutes to answer any questions you may have. Just submit your question in the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen. And also, as you see on the screen, we provided our phone number as well as David's contact information in mind. So if you have any follow-up questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We will have a recorded version of this webinar available over the next few days, so please look for that not only in your inbox but also on our website at takesolutions.com. So let's go to the questions. All right, David, it looks like we already have some great questions. Let's see, the first one. How much do you see BYOD, which is bring your own device, impacting transactions inside the four walls?
Yeah, I guess based on conversations with customers and discussions with other industry analysts and folks, companies appear to be using and planning to use bring your own device more for transactions outside the four walls initially. Inside the four walls, leveraging smart device capabilities for scanning barcodes or 2D codes will likely increase over time. But native mobile applications most likely need to be developed to handle those kind of transactions. So I guess another thing, better solutions, it's kind of complex with bring your own device as far as solutions to separate and secure work or professional tasks and data from personal activities, tasks and data need to be developed. So in the short term, there's probably not a huge impact inside the four walls. But in the long term, it wouldn't be surprising to see tablets replacing handheld scanners for material tracking and workflow inside the warehouse to a much greater extent.
Okay. Next question. We're still on Telnet scanners. Do we need to think about upgrading our hardware for mobility as well?
Yeah, more than likely, yes. There are some solutions out there that can work well, but most emerging mobile solutions are leveraging platforms like Windows Mobile, and the capabilities that are out there in the newer application, generally require, Windows Mobile or another technology. So it really does depend, like most things, on capabilities of the device to support the software and what you're doing, but most likely, yes.
Okay. The next question. Are there solutions out there that work with proprietary back-end systems?
Yeah, for mobile, again, I'd say generally yes. I think it depends on the age, the architecture of the system. There's definitely some applications out there that are proprietary and they're focused on working only with their own tools and solutions. There is integration technology out there today that does enable various legacy or other vendor systems to be tied together. An example, the technology that we use, take supply chain. We've built our OneSCM platform, for example, on an enterprise application integration layer, and it allows it to tie into just about anything, any kind of data or workflow. We refer to it as being system agnostic. So there are some tools out there to help you integrate. You really need to talk to your vendor and your partner and make sure that you can tie together what you want to tie together.
Okay. It looks like we've got time for one more question. So I do apologize if we didn't get to any of the questions after that. We will contact you directly after the webinar is done and get those questions answered. So the last question is, how much do you think social tools will be a part of the supply chain in the future?
That's another question. Time will tell long term, but based on current trends, social chat tools will be leveraged for instant collaboration in a number of areas, and it's already happening today. There's some vendors out there and some tools out there that are already doing that. One area would be, instant communication during, unanticipated or surprise events. You've got customer shortened lead times or a disruption in your supply chain or material availability. It's nice to have easy access to your business partners on something that maybe is integrated in with your business solutions as well. Or if you've got to collaborate across multiple different parties or partners, especially different time zone locations, and you want to do some document sharing, that's quite useful. It seems like things are going that direction. It's definitely an area that Take Solutions, Take Supply Chain is interested in. We're preparing a pilot. We have a pilot of a chat tool that has document management and indexing with one of our larger customers, so that's just about to launch here, so it's definitely something on our radar as well.
All right, thank you, David, and thank you everybody for attending the webinar today. This concludes the Q&A portion. If we were unable to get to your question, we will contact you directly with a response. And if you have any follow-up questions, again, feel free to contact us at the information provided on the screen. We look forward to seeing you online or in person again very soon.